This brief video is going to give you some tips on how to effectively send an email to me or any of your professors. First thing is to keep in mind that it's really important that you email from your NKU email. If you use a different type of email like Gmail, there's a very good chance that your message won't go through. So when you go to put in the email address, be sure you have the correct address. For example, my name's Sam Lapin, so you might think I'm lapins1@nku.edu, but it's not. It's just lapin@nku.edu. But also notice as I begin to type in the last name Lapin, that email address comes up. So that'll oftentimes happen, especially if it's someone you have emailed or someone who has emailed you in the past. And that's a good way to be sure that you've got the email address correct. Also, there's a directory that you can access from quick links on NKU's main page. And also you can send an email to your professor through Canvas. Getting to the subject line, it's really important that that subject line be specific so the professor knows what you're talking about. In this example, it's a student asking for an extension in one of the chapters in the ebook. So need extension on chapter 5 of ebook. All right, so that really says what you want. And it's not just need help, having a problem, something like that. One of the questions you may have at this point is, should I start out with a greeting like dear, which is very formal, or hi, or hey? I say go with whatever you're comfortable with. That may depend in part on how well you know that professor. But you can use something like that, or you can not. It really doesn't matter to me, and it won't to most of your professors. Now, when it comes to addressing them by name, very important tip is to address them by professor, and you can abbreviate it, PROF period, and then their last name. Because you may not know for sure if that person is Ms., Mr., Doctor, something else. You will have some professors who are doctor who have a PhD, others will not, but everyone who teaches for NKU has the title of professor. So that's a safe way to go. At this point, you may be thinking if you should put some type of greeting. How are things going? I hope you're having a good day. I say go with whatever your style is. If that's something natural for you to do it. If it's not, then don't. But the first thing after that is to identify yourself. Keep in mind your professors may well have over 100 students in any given semester. So unless you're really certain that professor knows who you are, it's a good idea to say who you are. So this is Mary Jones from your Monday, Wednesday, 12:15 speech class. All right, so that way they don't have to be trying to figure out who this is that they're working with. And then next, when you make your request, be very specific. So for example, in this request, I'm asking for an extension on chapter 5. Say chapter 5, all right? Don't just say the most recent chapter, because the professor may have assigned a few chapters recently, and if you don't tell them what number, then they're going to have to go into the records on Canvas and look it up. So, no need to ask them to do that extra work. So here is an example of what I'm talking about. I am requesting an extension on chapter 5 of the ebook until Friday at 2 p.m. So very detailed, very specific. Another thing that may come up at this point is whether or not you need to give an excuse, that I'm sorry, my cat had puppies, or I just got diagnosed with inverted lips, or whatever it may be. First thing is, if it's something you're not comfortable sharing, don't share it. Don't feel like you need to share something personal that you're not comfortable sharing. But if it is a situation where you feel like you need to do that, especially if it's something larger that you're asking for, an extension on an assignment, missing a class or whatever, it can be a good idea to put something in there about I have a very important doctor's appointment. I've had a family emergency. You don't necessarily have to be more detailed than that. But again, if you want to, you can, but never feel pressured to go into more detail than you want to go into. Also, if you have an opportunity to provide the professor with documentation, say something like, I will have a note from my dentist at the next class. Or if you happen to already have that note, you can attach a photo or a scan of it to the email. That's a good idea. So after you get past that part, it is time for the closing. Again, you can put thank you or warmly, best regards, whatever you want to do. Or if you want to just put your name, just put your name. It really is just a matter of whatever you're comfortable with. Mark Jones. Mary Jones. Okay. And then, of course, send the email. One of the last things I want to encourage you to do is anytime you have any reason why you might need to email your professor, go ahead and do it. First of all, this is our job, is to assist students. We like to hear from students. Maybe you just have an observation about something that was covered in class that day. Go ahead and send that email. And when it comes to problems, you're confused about directions for an assignment or something like that, we know that it's a lot easier for you and us if things get clarified ahead of time. It's much harder if the person's already done the assignment to have to go back and rework that or whatever. So don't hesitate. You may have professors who don't answer emails after 5 p.m. on weekdays or on the weekends or whatever, but even if it is, Saturday at 11 p.m., go ahead and send that email. When the professor checks, it will be there. All right. This has been a brief look on how to properly send an email to your professor. Thanks for watching my video and have a great semester.